Welcome, LF Energy, to my talk measuring the open and sustainable technology world. My name is Tobias Augspurger. I'm a community member of protontypes. We are an open source organization that is accelerating and enhancing a sustainable technology world by openness. So I will give you an insight about our projects and how we will support this movement in the future. So let's start with what is actually open or open source. So openness was used for decades and hundreds of years by scientists all over the world to build on the knowledge that others have created. Like Isaac Newton said, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants so that he could see further. And this is how a lot of physicists work. They actually publish their ideas in open libraries so that others could read this knowledge and then learn from it and continue the work that they have already done. And this is actually how knowledge and technology could sustain over hundreds of years and evolve. So actually, openness is something that is very sustainable, and it's also how our complete scientific world was working in the past. So we as an organization, we have seen that openness is the perfect match to sustainability, because in a world where a lot of greenwashing happened at the moment, we need to measure what is actually sustainable, and we can do it by exposing our data and models, how we calculated the sustainability of our organization, products and services. So openness is at the end our best way to fight climate change and to avoid greenwashing, so that we all can see and prove what we might think is sustainable. Another reason why openness and sustainable fit so much together, so good together, is the exchange of knowledge and technology worldwide. So most of the development in this section is being done in Europe and the US. So, but it doesn't help us if we limit this knowledge and this technology development to these countries. We need to do it worldwide so that it can be adapted worldwide, that so it can maintain worldwide, and so that organizations worldwide can also improve it and to discuss what fits to the local needs that they have. So openness also allows us to create a platform to cooperate and collaborate between organizations and individuals. To enhance this movement, we created the OpenSustainedTech website that is mapping all open projects worldwide in the area of sustainable technology. We created a guideline, and based on this guideline, we did technology scouting over months to map every project that is related to our guideline. And in this way, we found more than 1,000 projects that were actively being developed and that show a certain kind of professional basis. So in this way, we want to show what is the knowledge that has already been created and you can use in your organization, in your project, to build on the shoulders of somebody else, based on the knowledge somebody else already created. So one success story or one reason for the success story of open source, especially when it comes to the Linux operation system and the GNU tooling around it, is that they followed a certain philosophy called the Unix philosophy that is following an idea that you recombine small packages and tools so that you can create new products out of it. This was being done to avoid reinventing the wheel, because this created a lot of overhead in research and software development worldwide, especially in areas like robotics, but also in areas like artificial intelligence. There is nowadays the trend to build very small tools that can be improved over time and can be recombined by people worldwide. In the robotic area, it is the robot operation system that accelerated the robotic industry worldwide, because they were able to combine smaller software packages to build a complete framework out of it and to adapt this framework to certain needs that they have in their development environment. So, when we were investigating for the OpenSustained.tech website, we were looking at all these smaller packages and all these larger packages also that were created worldwide. What we've seen is that unfortunately most of them are inactive and not being developed, further developed anymore. What I experienced and what I know also after many years of working in open source is it is about the lack of users and contributors that you have at the moment that is the biggest problem for most projects, and that's also the reason why they fail. Because you open source your projects and then you think, there will be coming a lot of developers and users that want to participate. But actually the problem is they don't know about your project. And also with every product, you need to make marketing for your projects so that you find people that get involved. So when you have your very high quality open source project, you release it, you think it's really a very amazing piece of software, but nobody is interested. And this is because there's so much marketing going around worldwide that people just know about it. So you need to go out, get involved with people so that you overcome this problem. So here are some very simple things that you can do to improve your project so that your idea and your source code gets spread all over the world. One thing you should always do is get in touch with other communities. So for all the topics on OpenSustained.tech, there are a lot of very small organizations. There's bigger organizations, smaller organizations. There's organizations like the LF Energy to get in touch with people to discuss about your projects and to find new users and contributors. Create very simple logos to make your project recognizable. Try to publish your project in your journal. Write a paper about it. Create some professional appearance and or write a blog post about it. So there are many creative ways how you can do marketing for your project without, that's important, without investing into advertisement. Because the classical advertisement, like it is done today in the digital world, doesn't work actually for most open source projects, because the users don't use the platforms that normally work with the advertisement model. Another thing that you should always do is try to create a welcoming culture around your project so that people want to get involved and that they see we are looking for contributors. Please join our program or our project. So on our way through the open and sustainable technology world, we've seen hundreds of amazing projects with just a few stars, but when you look into them, how professional they were, I was really impressed about what has already been done. So there's all sectors about what you could consider sustainable are being involved into the open source movement. It's about also not just creating technology that you need to be sustainable, but also how to monitor and understand what do you need to do to get sustainable, and how to measure how our world is reacting to different climate actions that we do. For our organization, the next steps will be to identify what are new and missing projects. So at the moment, most of our work has been done in a manual way. So we really were going through GitHub, going through GitLab, going through papers, reading, using different platforms to do the technology scouting. We were in contact with people to help us doing this in an automated way. But the most important step for us is to grow the community around this project so that we have more technology scouting and so that we can sustain that the OpenSustainedTech website is actually being up to date and that most of the projects that are being developed in a professional way are sustainable and open are listed on this website. Another thing we are doing at the moment is we're doing advertisement for your project when you put them on OpenSustainedTech. We are writing blog posts, we are writing, creating tweets in social media, we do a lot of stuff to support you in marketing. Another quite, I think, personally interesting approach that we try at the moment, we plan 100 trees for every pull request that gets accepted. And this is done in an automated way with the continuous reforestation project that we also develop. So to improve the usability of OpenSustainedTech, we want to create a database out of it. We want to measure the health of the projects, to discover how the projects are related to each other, which organizations are related in this domain, and we want to improve the user experience so that it's not just looking at a list, but maybe that you can search for different topics and to do something that gives you a little bit more user experience than just looking at the list. The list has the benefit that it's easy to contribute to it and to spread it all over the world. It's a very easy format that we use for that. But what we want to use and want to do in the future is we want to create statistics and to really measure open sustainability. So our plan is to read the Markdown file that we use to create a website and parse this into a JSON format. This is possible because the OpenSustainedTech website is following the so-called awesome standard. And so we have a small linter that is checking that the markdown list can be processed in an automated way so that it fits to a certain format. And also, nearly all of the projects on the list have a Git repository, and we are pointing directly to the Git repository. Using the Git repository as an project website also helps us to see if the project is actually open, if it has an open government, if it has an open issue board, so that that people can participate also to it. And when we have all the projects in a JSON format, we can go to the GitHub and GitLab API and read all the metadata that these projects have and store them into a database. And based on this database, we can do statistics and create a better user experience. We can create health scores, we can identify which projects are not maintained anymore, but used maybe a lot. We can identify which dependencies are popular, or with which cross topics do we have, and we can see which projects are growing very fast at the moment and which programming languages are used. So there's a lot of ideas that we can do to measure what we consider as open and sustainable. Another thing that we want to do is we want to show you how to stand on the shoulders of giants. And on our technology scouting, we also investigated which projects are missing. So where can we find what kind of projects should be done in an open way but is still missing on the list. And what we've seen is that a carbon offset framework is missing. When it is about openness, this is, I think, from my personal view, and also our community is thinking that something like carbon neutral, and to consider an organization to be carbon neutral, needs to be measurable, and there needs to be a framework to estimate and to measure how can we improve or reduce our carbon emissions, and how can we show that the organization is actually carbon neutral. And this has only been possible if we open up the framework that is involved in doing that. And what we try and what we will do in the future is to combine certain packages from OpenSustainedTech, like the Scaphandra package, for measuring the power consumption and the efficiency of your servers, or like the Power API that creates an open framework to measure the power consumption of different devices, and then to measure what is the power consumption that you have per year, or maybe also per day and per night. And there are other projects in OpenSustainedTech that show you at which point in time the carbon intensity of your electricity, at which point on the world is high or low. So what is actually the energy mix at which point in time? And in this way, you will be able to see what is actually the carbon dioxide that you created. And in the next step, you could think about using reforestation or the protection of forests as a carbon capture technology. Because reforestation is at the moment the only carbon capture technology that works worldwide and is efficient enough. So there are a lot of projects that are measuring and observing where it is efficient in terms of the carbon cycle to plant trees. So we can together calculate where is the best opportunity to plant trees to capture the carbon that you created. And there are other projects worldwide that are operating worldwide, like the Reforestation as a Service from Digital Humani, that are automating the tree planting process, so that you have just an API and can say, I want to plant a number of trees in this location by this project, and then Digital Humani is doing the connecting from you with the reforestation organization, and you at the end just get a bill for about $1 per tree. And other projects are also working on the measurement and observation of forests, so that you can be sure that the trees that are planted are actually been growing where you might think that they are growing. And in this way, we can do an open carbon offset framework from end to end that is transparent and gives you a way to show and to prove that your organization is working in a carbon neutral way. So the goals that we have with the OCO, or Open Carbon Offset Framework, is to give you something like a framework of out of a combination of smaller tools from OpenSustainedTech to measure your carbon offset, and to standardize also this, and to go in connections with organizations worldwide to work on that, to improve your carbon offset, but also to help others to do the same, and not just doing it for your own organization and not just for, let's say, some marketing purpose. And in this way, we are also able to connect different topics from the OpenSustainedTech website and the communities behind that with each other. And at the end, we just show how standing on the shoulders of giants works, by not reinventing the wheel, but by using what others have already been done. So our organization is trying to show how transparency and trust can be created by openness. We want to create an open knowledge evolution, and we want to create we want to show how open business models can support your organization by being open and still successful at the same way. So please contact us if you're interested in this opportunity, or let's say in this new direction that we want to go into. You will find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and all these other platforms, but the best way is just write us an email, and I'm happy to discuss getting feedback from you or whatever. So thank you very much, and enjoy more talk from LF Energy. See you next time when we show more statistics about what is open and sustainable worldwide.